Excellent, and welcome to the second TNID session where we are having a walkthrough of the API. So that's enough from me. I'll hand over to Alex. Please introduce your API.
Yeah, hey there, everyone. Again, Alex Eastwood, CTO over here at TSG Global/TNID. I'm going to spend some time today just briefly walking through the current API functionality that we have available through the TNID platform. We've been spending a few weeks on this, and just as a disclaimer, this is very much in kind of an alpha beta phase right now. So again, primarily looking for obviously people to test out the API. Everything's based on GraphQL. And again, we're going to be evolving some new endpoints here over the next few weeks and months, obviously, as the product evolves, but wanting to give people a place to start just to kind of get a bit more acclimated with the system and how one can obviously, again, based on our prior discussion, start managing their self-sovereign identity and start
do it. So Shweta is not able to do it. I think she's trying.
Oh,
Don't worry, Siraj just joined
we're
and
good.
he is having a conversation as is
No, we're
all
good.
connected.
And yeah, and just managing, your individual profile, your business profile, your subscription preferences. And I'll go over a few keywords here in a little bit just to kind of level set everybody when it comes to how we're going to be talking about some core concepts and some keywords. Then again, we'll take a brief look at the API features. I'll go over them in just a few minutes. And then again, most of the documentation will be available online. Currently, there's a Google Sheet, and I'm migrating a lot of this over into a Gitbook profile for folks. So I know there was also some asks previously to get some of these code examples converted over to Python. And believe me, I heard you. I've been ill for the last few days, but I will be working on that using the power of generative AI and
Excellent.
my Python skills to make sure that we get some of those examples posted up in the Gitbook for you. But nonetheless, so some core concepts or some keywords that I just want to briefly kind of go over. So when talking about our APIs and kind of the different models that we approach the platform with, we have individuals. Like individuals are essentially the backbone of a lot of the software. So again, an individual being a single person or entity that consists of some generic data. And with an individual, we're also attaching many addresses. So these are ways that you can be contacted by. It could be like a physical address, email, a phone number, a social media handle, whatever, right? We consider all those things different addresses. And then we're also collecting some other information about our users. Again, this is all safe, secure within our databases. We're ISO 27001 certified. This isn't being shared with, Big Brother or anything like that. So this is all just kind of self-contained within the platform. And once we've built kind of your individual profile, we're then allowing individuals to basically build a company, and a company being one or more individuals who represent a business or even a brand. It could be like an official, like sole proprietorship, LLC, C Corp, whatever you want to set it up as. And obviously, different individuals within a company can have different roles, and we allow people to assign those roles to people's within a company. More so on this note is we don't explicitly require a tax ID. So a brand can be a lot of things, right? Like you can have, if you want to set up a personal brand, I guess that is something that you could do. But we're not strictly requiring you to set up, again, a sole prop or an LLC necessarily from day one. We're not doing any sort of like background check to verify that is, something that's actually live and out in the real world. In the future, we'll be doing some integrations with different, business identity providers to verify and vet some of the information that we're obviously provided. But starting right now, you can essentially, especially for this hack, set up whatever you'd like, create 100 different businesses under your name if you'd like. Completely up to you. So we have individuals, we have companies, and then we have connections. Connections are essentially a friend request that you'd see on other platforms, and we've kind of detailed them to have specific types within the TNID platform. So you, as an individual, have several types of connections. You can have professional connections to folks, you can have friends, you can have family, and then we have a kind of bucket for other right now. And then likewise on the company side, you can set up partners that you obviously have partnered with. You can have a vendor relationship, a client relationship, obviously there's instances in which you can have both. So we'll be accommodating that soon as well. But essentially, this is a way for people to connect to other people, right? And kind of vet and attest that that relationship exists, not only to other people, but also to businesses, and for businesses to do the same thing, because there'll be some features that we'll be rolling out in the future that hopefully streamline some of this inter-business communications, right? Especially when it comes to authorizations, especially in the telco space these days, I'm sure everyone's aware, just getting a letter of authorization signed to do something right on behalf of another business is an arduous and boring process that requires, even with some companies, still like a wet signed piece of paper that you need to scan and fax somewhere. And we're hoping to, in the future, provide some additional API functionality to automate a lot of that, and also provide some sort of, reminder storage capability, right? So you can easily go and grab those and forward them as needed, etc. And then we have subscribers. This is, again, kind of akin to like a follow that you'd see on other platforms as well. And that essentially means that you're opting into receiving communications with, a company across certain channels. The channels are up to you. You can subscribe to some company or brand and choose to receive, emails, texts, RCS messages. We're including physical mail at this point as well, because let's be honest, there's no good way today to track that, at least here in the United States. If I want to opt out of that junk mail I keep getting every, week from some ad agency, I think at the bottom in the, footer text, they tell me, well, you need to write back to some random PO box. And I'm like, I don't really enjoy doing that either. So, essentially building some stepping stones to get us to a point where, okay, as a platform managing consent on your behalf as a consumer, TNID can, once you've provided this information, essentially act as a proxy and start to, fulfill those requests on your behalf. And obviously you can edit your preferences in relation to, companies that you've subscribed to at any time in this platform. So if you want to opt out at some point, we're trying to make this easy. We're trying to make it programmatic, especially with some states these days requiring, I think it's 24-hour, opt out compliance, especially in like Michigan and some other states. It's becoming more prudent that they are given the correct information, either via an API or via webhook or something like that, to let them know that, hey, business, stop contacting this customer. You can't just wait, we'll get back to you in a week, nothing like that. So some just quick additional core concept. We've already talked about channels, addresses. Again, communications today occur across lots of different channels in relation to some, address belonging to an individual, email, physical mail, phone numbers. And, a phone number means a lot of things today. It could identify voice calls, your text messages, your WhatsApp handle. And then obviously we have social media handles, and all these are different fields that one can populate in regards to an individual. And then one last thing we wanted to touch on that we're really seeing here in the next day or two is just reports. So reports are going to be a way for you as a this is more consumer focused, though we can arguably also extend this feature out to a brand or business. It's essentially a complaint, against some communication channel or source, for having received, an unwanted or spam-like communication, something that they received from some address through some channel that's just blatantly illegal, uncompliant, phishing, scam. It could be a shaft violation for those of you not in the telco space. It's like sex, hate, alcohol, firearms, and tobacco, and weed is technically included under that. Federal stuff they don't like, the carriers will shut you down for, or if it just violates the CTIA. So we're creating an API that allows you to essentially view and manage those as well. So just jumping straight into, again, there's only so much I can show one in a PowerPoint. Just go look at the documentation. And again, it's GraphQL based. And I'll get those links to everyone here in a slide or two. But basically what we released to date kind of focuses more so around kind of an organization like a company or a business. And then we'll kind of look at releasing some stuff for like the individual here in a little bit. But primarily there's company to company features or requests, and then there's company to individual features or requests. And again, in standard GraphQL style, we've broken these out into queries or, basically gets for information, and then mutations are going to be your posts to create or modify existing information. So your queries, what you can do today, you can search for companies. Again, I suggest making lots of companies because I haven't had a chance yet to go and download, the Fortune 5000 list and upload them, but, feel free to do that yourself. You can get companies that you're connected with. You can get pending connection requests or previous connection requests. And then again, you can invite companies. So make those connections and then cancel those existing requests or go ahead and respond to those connection requests. So I'd encourage folks to, create a few companies, buddy up with some other folks, like just get those APIs to intermingle, connect your companies, connect your brands, your businesses. And start to just share some information about, again, what these mock businesses look like and how they could relate to one another. And then from the company to the individual side, again, you can also search for people. So this is kind of open right now. You can search based on first name, last name, a lot of different fields. I have to probably date of birth. You could probably look up. We kept it pretty open right now. So, state, zip code, things of that nature. We keep it pretty light with the GraphQL, and it's not terribly restricted right now. We'll worry about that in a little bit, obviously. And again, these queries are restricted to information that you as the consumer, as an individual, want to share, right? So if you do opt in to, provide some information with the platform and you want to keep, certain elements about yourself private, i.e. non-searchable, then obviously people that will try to search for that information won't be able to find it. So if you want to keep yourself hidden, completely up to you. It's up to the user, to decide how much information you're comfortable sharing with folks. But again, via the API, you can get connected individuals. You can, get your pending subscription requests, get active subscribers. Active subscribers being an important one, especially in the telco space, right? So ideally in a blue sky world, before sending out a communication over some channel, right, it would be prudent for a company, especially a big brand. We were talking about, I think, Home Depot earlier, so we can use them as an example. Prior to sending, a mass SMS communication out or something like that, go and check against, our API, our TNID systems, to see whether or not, the address or the phone number that you're attempting to reach still has an active subscription to your service, or if they've canceled it, if they have a different date time preference, right? Let's say I only really care about Home Depot marketing text messages on weekends. Dip the system, check that number, see that, Alex really only cares about your 20% off coupons on Saturday mornings when he's not working and he has time to go to Home Depot with 2 kids. Otherwise, don't bother. So that's an interesting query that I definitely want to kind of point people towards. Get your pending subscription requests, get your connection requests, and again, mutations, invite people. So again, generate friends, invite them, connect to one another. You can do the same for family members. There's some additional features that'll be coming out here over the next few weeks, kind of focusing on kind of just those familiar relationships, kind of, the handoffs that can happen, even like a hierarchy, as well of like, if let's say some piece of information or communication comes in to say, like my mom, for example, my mom's like in her late 60s, isn't very tech oriented. You better believe that every few weeks I get, luckily a screenshot from her of some, anomalous email that she received or text message saying that, oh, she's overdue $5,000 and she needs to call this 1-800 number. That's a manual process for her. What we'd like to do, as well as kind of provide an avenue for, let's say you have a group of family members, right? And let's say that you'd like to forward someone's text messages or maybe a certain subset of messages that they received to their inbound number, to like a group or a specified point person within a group, right, for them to review or just be able to, not put the onus on them to forward that or question that. That way, if something anomalous like that does come in, I could easily, alert them, send them a notification through an app or send them a quick text message back and say, oh, hey, it looks like you received this message. Ignore it. It's phishing. It's scam, right? Kind of act as the tech know-how protector, whatever, of this particular group, and provide some positive feedback to avoid common scams like that. But again, mutations available today. Invite people, send connection requests, send subscription requests. As a business, go invite people. Hey, subscribe to my platform, just click yes. They'll get a pop-up, super straightforward. And last but not least, viewing and filing a report. I know, again, this is why the API documentation is a good place to go. Here's a big kind of blah of our data schema as far as filing a report does, but it hits a few points that I think are important. Again, you can obviously get reports using a query method. You can also create reports using the mutation. But really, there's a lot of data that we're trying to include here when it comes to filing report, because a lot of this is evolving very fast, as I'm sure everyone's aware. The FCC especially is trying to crack down on, robocalls or AI-generated calls and text messages. And, they're trying to kind of push for a lot of this information to start to be tagged in some sort of way, right? So they can identify, okay, what phone call or what text message or communication is generated by a person versus what's generated by a robot. What's the difference between, something that I get ChatGPT to generate versus what's, kind of an auto dialer just using an AI generated voice. Like, a lot of stuff to go in there, nothing that we can really necessarily do in the next 5 minutes. So we're going to skip over that. Needless to say, you can specify issue types, right? Is it spam? Is it AI generated? Is it telemarketing call, political, robocall, etc.? We have a few different sources that you can attribute that to. We'll be doing some dipping in the background to figure out, okay, if it is a phone number, are we reporting this number to that particular carrier? That's something we can do on your behalf. Are we going to report it to the net number ID? And for people who aren't in telecom, just kind of ignore that. We'll get it to the people that care about it. The to number for the from number, we're seeing a lot of tertiary channels pop up recently too, right? So they call you in from a local number or a number that's easily spoofed, and then they'll tell you to call back at a completely different number. And so, obviously interested in terms of hacks as well. If people want to look into, this is a great use case for ChatGPT. Not to plug that in any sort of way, but there are some uses to generative AI and being able to identify, like, okay, here's here's a JPEG or a GIF that I received, or here's a voice call, a WAV file. Please identify for me, rather than having to listen to all these myself manually. The phone number that was mentioned in the voicemail, based on this image content. Can you tell me, like, the callback number? Can you tag it, right? Give me some tags that kind of outline, okay, what is the general kind of I don't want to necessarily say feel, but what are some attributes associated with this piece of spam that I've received? And save them in some sort of JSON format, right? So that we can better, as a community, look at, okay, well, this is what's happening more recently, especially right now during political season. We're seeing a lot of that. And again, some Boolean tags in here. Is it AI generated? Did it come in as a voicemail? Is there some sort of URL associated with it? Is it a fishy looking URL? Is it not? And then obviously being able to include some attachments and some geolocation data. So in the interest of time, again, there's some additional features. You can do some bulk CSV uploads for subscriber information within the portal as well. And then we've also deployed some new features in the last week, just again, more so in the CTIA industry regulations in the telco space. We're now allowing companies to have some hosted, templated terms and conditions and privacy policies, because those are becoming very, very, I don't want to say frowned upon, but they're being very closely criticized by a lot of folks in the telecommunications space. And so working on getting some more common language generated and easily accessible to small businesses, especially sole proprietors. And then even hosting, that now there's a hosted web page for businesses as well, primarily aimed at sole proprietors, but basically providing kind of synopsis of your business. You can do that through our platform. Have a web page set up, have a templated terms, conditions, privacy policy, everything you need for your small business to be compliant, quote unquote, with these new industry regulations. That way you're not having to, as a small business, pay someone a few grand to set up a nice website, and then another few grand every few weeks, it seems these days, to go and update your privacy policy or terms and conditions based on, some new campaign feedback or rules or regulations that have been dropped down, simply because you want to text message some of your clients. So all that is stuff that we're currently have available. So again, starting today. Really just to get access to this, you just need to send us an email. That's all you need to do. And David, I know he's on this call. We'll be sure to include this information on kind of our splash page and on the TADHack website as well. But you just need to email us at support@tsgglobal.com. That's all you need to do. And we'll invite you and create an account /ID so you can access both the GUI and the API. Like I mentioned, I'm in the process of migrating a lot of this data over to a Gitbook repository, so docs.tnid.com. We'll include a lot of this API beyond what's in a Google Sheet right now. And I'll include those Python examples there. I'll apologize. I know that was a promise, and I've been sick for the last week, so that has been on my to-do list, and I will get that done. Unfortunately, generative AI can't read my mind just yet and work on my tasks in Asana and just get them done for me. Come on, useless AI. Only, if only. And then beyond that, though, that's a high-level synopsis of what you can do today on the technical side. I know we have like 4 minutes left, and I do have a hard stop at the end of this, but I'll hand it back to you if you want to do Q&A right now, Alan.
Yep. Absolutely. Any questions for Alex?
No.
And again,
and if it's posted on the front page, that's perfect because we'll know where to go for it. Thank you so much for doing this.
Perfect.
Anything else, Suraj, or no? Oh, I see we got Tracy there looking very thoughtful. If not, all the data's there. You've got support at TSG Global. Oh, here you go.
Yep.
Question from Suraj. What's a good first app I can try building out on this API?
Oh, man. The options are limitless. Of course, everyone says that. That's right. I mean, I think as we previously alluded to, and I didn't include a slide in here, but, we're obviously looking at ways in which, you could take these APIs and, if you could integrate them into other consumer-friendly ecosystems, like, again, Apple's got some cool concepts, Apple Wallet, being able to, maybe load your identity profile there. And somehow interact with your subscriptions or something of that nature, I think would be cool. We're looking at use cases related to, if you want to integrate some stuff with Web3, even just a simple kind of, blockchain integration would tickle us. I'll leave it at that. Anything that really the purpose of the platform is to empower consumers, right? And to kind of provide, again, a more secure ecosystem for both consumers and brands to interconnect and kind of manage how to communicate with one another. So, think outside the box, ask ChatGPT, feed it all this entire PowerPoint and tell me, hey, what's a good, initial app I should do for a hackathon? And I'm sure you'll get some great answers. But yeah, it's completely up to you. So I'll leave it at that.
No, that's some excellent hints and guidance there. Thank you so much, Alex. Anything else? If not, thank you to everyone. Great work, Alex. It's is there a rate limit? Is from Suraj.
No, but I'll find you if you break things. If you DDoS my servers, I will personally find you.
Excellent. Looking forward to it. This is a great explanation, some amazing tools and capabilities that are very relevant to the struggles many small businesses are having in just trying to do SMS campaigns. So I think this is going to be an interesting hackathon. So again, Alex, the whole of the TSG Global team, thank you so much. To all the hackers on the call, again, thank you for sharing your time, and looking forward to, in only a few weeks' time, the results of all this work. So again, thank you so much. Take care. Bye-bye.